Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 7:09, Thursday, September 22nd, 62 degrees, getting up to 80 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pop app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. Join the conversation. We are now joined in studio by our financial guru, Sean Monohan. Sean Monohan offers security and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning,
How
Jeremy.
are you?
Good. How you doing?
You know what? I'm really good, Sean. But let's start with some of the very important stuff. Number
Absolutely.
one.
Let's jump right in.
Number one. Can you please corroborate my story now that I could be among the worst golfers ever to pick up a golf club?
You know what? The thing about golf, Jeremy, is you got to be consistent, and you are.
I am consistent.
Although you did beat the pro.
Well, so I'm.
So that kind of broke the mold.
That was my one moment of inconsistency.
Right.
I'm consistently horrible, except when it was the beat the pro hole when I hit my only good shot of the day, and that
guy, you know, sometimes when you play these beat the pro, they kind of duff it over to the right, so you can sort of everybody can kind of get in the raffle. That guy, he knocked it right up there, man. He wasn't just laying up to let us do it.
It wasn't bad, but I closed my eyes, I swung real hard, and I had a Happy Gilmore moment.
You were deep in there. That was late in the day too.
Yeah, but you were. Well, I had taken a few holes off. I can't
full
play.
18 is.
I can't play every hole.
Yeah,
Sean,
no, I hear you.
And
I had to jump, and everybody tapped out pretty quick. They were, okay.
Well, you were like, yeah, maybe we should leave. Like, hey, let's go. Here we go.
Got soccer coming up here.
Well, you left. I left. Right,
Mm-hmm.
you had soccer. I honestly, it was the last night that our whole family was going to be together before we leave for vacation, because now we start soccer, and it was actually our free night. And so I went home to have dinner with the family, and the other two I think stayed. And and partook in the later festivities.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And did they collect your prize?
You
actually won the raffle.
I did. I won.
Foursome.
So I won a foursome, and I won tickets to see the Jersey Boys on Broadway.
Did you rig that? I mean, you were the main sponsor, so did you guys rig that?
So first of all, let me tell you, the door prize I won, I came in. I bought a pile of stuff. Right, because you buy all these entries.
Yeah, that's mulligans.
I handed it all to Shawn Michaels. I said, here, you take everything. I gave him all the 50-50 tickets. I gave him all the things. I said, you put your name on the big board. So he went to the big board. He got we had 3 boxes. He put his name on 2 of them. He put my name on the third box. He put my name on the box 160. And I said, why'd you pick 160? He goes, because it's the closest to 1160. Like, because he's a company man, he's looking out for her. So that's the one that won. So it's really, I have to once again, your dad, Zach. He's such a good person. He would have totally invited me to the house party, by the way.
Yeah, he probably
would have. But Sean, so this was the OCC golf outing, and you were spending some time talking about college and college planning. So why don't you talk about that a little bit for us? Because you had some questions on 529s, and I think that's appropriate.
Right. Well, I mean, I think what you're doing over there at OCC, I think it's an interesting thing to me, because I think the cost of colleges has exploded, along with like healthcare. It's unbelievable how dramatically they're increasing, and there's a lot of different aid available and scholarships available, but at the end of the day, you have to fund a lot of this yourself, or at least consider funding it yourself. And there's some things, and your friend Dave, when we were walking around, was like, asking me questions about some of these different options available. There's a lot of different ways to set up things if you're going to start saving for college. The main one now, there used to be custodial, there still are custodial accounts, Coverdale IRAs, but the main one now is 529s, which has offered a lot of different benefits to people and flexibility that the other two didn't address. And we can talk about those, or kind of go into some of the ones there.
I mean, the big one is the 529 now. So what do I do if I want? So first of all, who's your target audience?
I would say that any parent that thinks that their kid might want to go to college, right? And they can start saving money. A lot of the aid is I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are caught up in the middle ground, but they're concerned about, making too much to qualify for a lot of things. The reality is, I always tell parents, look, just start saving when your kid's born, because you're going to look up in 10 years and you're going to have a few bucks saved. So what I usually recommend is using a 529 plan for a parent and really any parent. And there's two targets with the 529s, because what we're seeing is a lot of traction in the wealthier grandparent funding, okay, because you can not manipulate, but there's a workaround with the gifting limits in these 529s. I don't know if you know how that works.
Yeah.
You can normally gift a child $14,000 a year, or anybody $14,000 a year. But 529s have a provision where you can load 5 years up front. And,
okay.
And so you have some wealthy people that are reducing their taxable estate by putting 5 years up front into these 529 plans for the kids. So that's I mean, we're seeing more of that, I should say. But the bread and butter is the parent. And so the thing with these plans is they grow tax deferred. They're tax free, right? So you put in any amount you put in there, you invest it, it grows. When you take the distribution out, there's no taxable consequences. Okay, so that's one major provision. They also, another one that they made, I'd say user friendly, is the parent is the owner. Okay, when you used to do a custodial account, you would basically be setting up, if your dad set up a custodial account in your name, that was your money. It was used for the benefit of you. When you turned 21, you could walk in my office and say, give me my money, or whatever it is. The 529s are different. So you're as a parent of the owner, and the child is the beneficiary, and you can change the beneficiary. So if the child doesn't go to college, the child, doesn't need the money because he's got scholarships or whatever, you can change that. The one confusing thing about these plans is that each state has their own set of rules. Right. It's like insurance. It's kind of I don't know why they set it up like this, but each state has their own plan. Some states allow you to deduct the contributions. New Jersey does not allow you to deduct the contributions. So, but by and large, they're great vehicles. You can. So
wait, so I can't deduct
not the contributions, no.
Into the 529.
No.
So what's the advantage then of me doing that? It's just setting up a savings plan.
Right. That's a tax-free savings plan. It's like an IRA, like a Roth IRA, basically. That doesn't penalize you for taking the money out early or whatever.
Wait, so the earnings are not taxable,
right?
But the money that I put in there,
after tax money in Jersey.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, talk to these guys at the state level. A lot of states do offer it.
Right.
I mean, a lot. Like I think it's I don't know if it's 50-50. Illinois offered it when I lived in Chicago. I mean, they would offer a tax incentive. So.
And what happens if I never use the money in it? None of the kids go to college, whatever. How do I take? I could take the money out.
Yeah.
And then, then am I taxed on the earnings?
On the earnings. Yep.
Just at a regular tax rate.
Right.
So it's really just like a holding facility.
But you could go to literally. This is actually a provision with these things. You could actually it's a liberally defined definition of education. You can make yourself the beneficiary and maybe go to golf school and use
why?
I'm not picking on
why
golf.
do you think I need to go to
I'm just saying
golf
you could
school?
Theoretically. I mean, cooking school, maybe.
That was you've never even. Maybe I'm a good cook.
Right.
Anyway,
but you can use it for a lot of different things.
Gotcha.
And that's the other thing with these plans. It's not just tuition. It's room, board, it's books, travel. They tell you to save the receipts and so forth, but nobody's really checking on what you're spending it for, as long as it's geared towards education and the benefit of the child.
Cool. All right. When we get back, I'm seeing in the headlines every day we're talking about interest rates. Janet Yellen, she is the most popular woman on the front page of the newspaper. I still think it should be, Melania Trump, but we
can't get enough of that.
We see Janet Yellen instead, and what are we going to do? And by the way, I think Donald Trump said that if he was president, he would do something about that. But he
would make Janet Yellen on the front page of the paper.
No, I think he said Melania would be in charge of the Federal Reserve, and
Yeah.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
Stay tuned for Preferred Company with Joel Markell and Marianne Levy at 8. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues next. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Get up, get out, do something. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, 723. Sean Monohan, our financial guru. So, Sean, I'm seeing Janet Yellen. She's talking about interest rates. We're going to raise them, we're going to raise them, we're going to raise them, and then not so much.
Not raising them.
Yeah. Well, what's the story there?
You know, I wish I had a clear answer for you, but they are in, it seems like purgatory. Like at the end of last year, they raised the interest rates and they set the expectation that the rates would go up as many as 4 times this year, that every quarter they were going to raise the rates to try to get us into a normal interest rate range. The market at the beginning of the year, as you may recall, fell off the tracks, right? And that quickly dissolved. Right, they quickly was like, all right, we're not, maybe at the end of the year, but now they've punted and they're not doing it. I guess they could theoretically do one in December again, but they've basically hemmed and hawed. They're waiting for a sort of a stronger economy. You know what? It seems like a moving target to me when you read and say, okay, we want to get, and again, the reason the rates are low is to spur the economy, right? The reason they did this was as a response to the Great Recession, where they felt that they needed to increase consumer and business spending in this country. One of the ways that they did that was lowering interest rates, making it cheaper for people to buy things, cheaper to buy houses, cheaper to buy cars, cheaper for companies to expand by borrowing money. Frankly, towns and municipalities can borrow money cheaper than they've really ever been able to. So that was the idea behind what they did. And then they've been sort of debating for the last several years, well, when are we back to normal? And the economy has strengthened. The economy is growing. People are working more. The unemployment rate is 4.9%. So but their question is it enough? Is it growing strong enough to sustain us raising these interest rates back to a normal level?
Yeah. So I liken it, I guess the way I see it is it's like, you had this silver bullet, right? That you can where you can lower interest rates and you can get everybody excited and they can go buy. And then the problem is it becomes the new normal.
Right.
The
new normal.
And so what is that? So what does it look like now when interest rates, because we remember a time when interest rates were, 6, 7, 8%.
Sure.
Right.
And if you talk to your parents, they probably bought a house in the 70s and they probably paid 15, 16% for a building or something like that. I mean, that was the rates.
That wasn't, it just was what it was. Right. So then when it was lowered, it was like, ooh, we have money is, we have the ability to do different things.
Right.
So the question is now, how do you ease it back up so it doesn't destroy the economy, stop people from spending, but you also have to build a feeding frenzy of people saying, "Oh my God, rates are going to go up. I better buy now."
Right. And it's I don't know how they do it, and they're not really, I don't think, doing it very successfully because they've sort of keep punting down the road, and but rates are going to go up, and if you're going to borrow money, I think that if you're going to borrow money, it's a pretty good time to borrow money.
Yeah.
It's a bad time to be a retiree and a saver and have money in the bank and try to generate income off of savings, which is a frustration that I hear every day from people saying. And I hear this too, like, oh, well, when my dad retired, he just, he had a CD and it paid him 17%. But, and I always think, well, yeah, but his mortgage was 18 and he was waiting in line for gas. So how great of a time was that,
Right.
So, fuel is cheap. Debt is cheap. There's a lot of people that are taking advantage of it. And, but I guess their concern is they feel that the economy is growing, but it's not growing strong enough to sustain this sort of an increase.
And by the way, here in New Jersey, we were just ranked 50th from an economic growth standpoint.
50th.
So, out of 50.
So how I don't know how Christie got bounced from the election though, huh? He wasn't able to capitalize on that and become
couldn't maximize that.
Candidate?
He couldn't ride that 23% approval rating into the Oval Office. When we come back with Sean Monohan, I want to talk to you also about some of the other indicators because I want you to explain the inflation thing to me. Because I don't get it. I don't get why we want inflation to why the Fed needs inflation to rise. Okay?
Right.
It seems odd to me. It seems like I want prices to stay. What do we want? Why do we want prices to move? Sean Monohan, our financial guru. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Make sure you pay attention because the Hometown View is coming up and it's going to kick butt. Back after this.
The news never stops at WOBMAM.com. Get the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBMAM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 7:37 Thursday, September 22nd. 62 degrees. We're getting up to 80 today. WOBMAM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. So we were talking a little bit, Sean Monohan, our financial guru. So I want you to explain the inflation thing to me because, you know, one of the things that they often talk about when they're looking at interest rates is, well, inflation is too low, so we don't know if we want to raise interest rates.
Right.
First of all, explain to me why I want higher inflation.
Well, I don't think you and I do.
Right.
I don't think as a general resident filling up your car with gas and buying groceries, inflation is bad. It hurts us, right? It's certainly something that I've always been taught. I've always had the same reaction when I read these things. It is always listed as a factor because what it indicates is demand. Okay, prices go up when demand increases. So when there's demand, the one response is you raise prices to meet demand. It's supply and demand. It's that X chart. So what they're saying is that look, there's not, even though the economy is strengthening and the employment is strengthening, they're still not seeing the demand that they would need to see to feel comfortable raising these rates.
Right.
That it could sustain a rate increase. And there's reasons for it. They look at the global economy and they say, I think that's one of the main factors. There's a global slowdown, which has kept this inflation and this demand down.
Right.
And that's the way I would look at it, and that's the way I do look at it. And
right.
I don't know though. Again, when I read these articles the same way you do or other people, and you look at it and you say, it seems like they're waiting for the perfect storm, like a perfect set of circumstances to do this, and I just don't know that they're ever going to see it. I mean, that's my own opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's so many indicators and so many factors, and it's like for them all to line up, it just seems, but I think they want to be very careful because you don't want to be the one in charge of the Federal Reserve who sends the economy into a tailspin and sends us into a depression, right?
That's you don't. Yeah, but and the reality is what worries me a bit is that, if they don't raise the rates, are they going to have the tools in place next time for the next crisis?
To bail us out,
so that's, I think with the Federal Reserve, they did a lot of drastic actions, and some of these things, TARP and all these other programs that were implemented in the Great Recession, by and large, staved off a depression, right? I think anybody could argue that there's, they might have kicked the can down the road. They might have said, hey, it might be worse next time, but for that period of time in our lifetime, they staved off a depression. And I just worry that they're not going to have the bullets in the arsenal to do it again if they don't. But yeah, you're right. They could raise the rates quickly, and then all of a sudden, we're screwed.
Well, which is why they're very quick. They're very calculated about what they release. They know that every word gets hung on. They know that they're trying. We've heard from Donald Trump, for example, that he wants. He wants to. I thought he said he wanted to eliminate the Federal Reserve at one point, or they want more transparency in the. They all talk about more transparency in the Federal Reserve, but it's very calculated because I think that they want to say certain things, see how people react, and kind of make that like kind of their litmus test to see if they can make a move.
It wasn't that long ago they didn't do this.
Right.
They didn't release minutes. They didn't have press conferences. They would just do it in the middle of the night, and you wouldn't even know about it, right? Except for the bond auctions and these other, financial trading things that would occur, bank lending things that would occur. Like, you wouldn't know it. Like, so I sometimes I wonder if that's not better, right? That we sit in here and hem and haw, and you read the paper, and we talk about this because it's literally the lead story almost every day. Yeah. And I don't, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing, you got to, at the end of the day, when I'm talking to clients, I mean, I have to prepare for, an array of circumstances that will occur.
Right.
And, but this is one thing that we talk about a lot. But I don't, 10 years ago, I don't think that was the case.
No.
They didn't release minutes. They didn't have press conferences.
No. That's a different world, though. It's a very different world. But, one thing that we should always discuss is how people would get in touch with you.
Right.
So,
you can reach me.
So how can they reach you?
They can
Sean?
reach me at my office, 609-693-3800. My office is over in the corner, Indian Hill and Hooper. And you can also email me, Sean at finalt.com. So 609-693-3800, or you can send me an email.
Do you have a business card?
You know what? I get a
Can
little.
I
got to tell you.
Go ahead.
I don't call myself, and I get nervous that I'm gonna,
I didn't see it because it's kind of hidden there, and I was like, oh, I'm so proud of him. He didn't pull out his business card this time to read his information, but you did.
Well, the one time I got perplexed on the air a couple weeks ago, and I sort of had,
Yeah, well, you get a little flustered, and you're also a sweater. You know what I mean?
I am
you're
a sweater,
man.
I
So,
tell you what.
Yeah, you've wiped your
turn
brow.
the heat. Do you do that intentionally to keep people off guard when they come in?
No, I'm actually I find it quite temperate in here. Sean Monohan, our financial guru, and by far the best golfer in the room right now. Sean, thank you so much.
Right,
good luck in soccer. Good luck in baseball. Good luck in every sport that your kids are participating in this weekend. All right.
Have a great vacation, man.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.